Hello guys and welcome back to Strategic Command World War II World at War with our first ever PvP against SirTravis. In the last episode we moved over into March 13th, 1942, did our sub moves, went over some weird player morale activities of our opponent, and yeah, there's a lot to look at. Germany is still not going to be very active because it's still winter, snowing. He's continually trying to attack me, and it's not really working out for him. Maybe he thinks it is. I don't think it is based on his morale actions recently, but he keeps trying. He keeps trying. We're going to go ahead and reinforce the blue tanks here up to max, well, up to 10. Von Bach can go bypass Rommel, heading north down the road. That should allow him to bounce some supply. It doesn't show that he's going to bounce it at all in the prediction, which is weird, because he should bounce it. Usually when you do that, they bounce it. That's kind of like my whole strategy of how I move supply. I piggyback, bounce supply from one HQ to the next. Well, he's almost up to here anyway. Hopefully that does improve stuff coming up. I'm not gonna really do too much here. We will just reinforce this, lose some experience, reinforce this, and this can get up to 10. This can only get up to 8, but we're gonna keep things as strong as possible. This can get up to 10. We're still recovering from the winter, but it's going pretty well. 4 points right there, down to 503 MPPs. These guys are all set pretty much. The only thing remaining is just, it's snowing. And he may feel like attacking during the snow, but I don't want to attack during the snow. We can reinforce this core right here. We can reinforce this core right here. It's a lot of money to fix up the damage done by the winter. But thankfully, the amount of troops I had here were really just the amount that I would have had otherwise. Down another 100 MPPs, we're going to go upgrade the attack weapons on these medium bombers. Still snowing and then raining. So I'm going to be sitting the winter nice and quiet, recovering. His attempt at a winter counter offensive is wholly unsuccessful from my point of view. And it seems to be having a negative effect on his morale, from what I can tell, dramatic enough that, like, he went from super high morale during the summit to, I think that's already gone. We could look at elite reinforcements. I'm going to save that for later because I don't want to prioritize elite reinforcements right now. Just normal reinforcements come first. We got 370, 27 MPPs. We can go ahead and do some more research, and we have finished 2 researches that will help our research in general. And it'll be the last point we have to put into it because it caps out at 3 and it's already at 2. That leaves me with 177 MPPs remaining. We could go for another research, but I'm pretty sure we need these points elsewhere. At the very least, we can use them elsewhere. Well, actually, if that's all we're doing, let's not forget about our rocket attacks. If that's all we're doing, then need becomes a very subjective term because anything else is just elite reinforcements, really. I'm going to take the 3rd Italian garrison here. And we're going to move this up to Bologna. I'm going to force march the 6th Yugoslavian Corps down to Rome, where they will defend. I'm going to take the 11th garrison and just move that to Naples for right now. And they can just chill out. We don't need to free up any garrisons for anything anytime too soon. I don't know of him having any more units over here, but we're not sailing about trying to find out. And this means I can go ahead, and I know I wanted to change up these guys right here. But that's some movement. That's some time moving around unless I were to operate them or do certain upgrades first. Upgrades that I don't really know the value of doing those right now. These guys aren't even upgraded. They're not even upgraded. Well, for now, I think I'll reinforce the Dravska Corps. 5 points, get that up to 10. And we're just going to force march this Tirana Corps that I named this Bulgarian Corps after, getting along the way to replace the Dravska Corps. We're not in any rush here because he's not attacking, you know. This gigantic naval blockade may be an attempt to block my ASW. Oh, I forgot about this guy right here. I gotta get him out of there somehow. Or his fleet actions here may be kind of preparing for something else, like a further invasion, perhaps. I already have the Atlantic Wall, but over here is pretty sparse. It is pretty sparse. And now that America's in the war, he might go for an early D-Day, but actually use this side, since the Atlantic Wall gets built on this side. This would be a lot easier to corner down due to Vichy France being present, unless he's willing to attack Vichy France. But potentially, we may want to free up some units for that direction. We're still waiting on those Romanian cavalry, and they have like 2 turns before they're ready. I have an idea. I don't know if it's a smart one. It would accomplish 2 goals at once. The 30th Corps here and the 5th Corps are injured. They do need to be reinforced. They're not in really good supply to do that. And he's going on a bit of a counteroffensive here on the right. If I were to operate these 2 corps, because they are only just corps, and put them into defensive locations down here somewhere, say around Nantes and Tours, for example. Nantes, of course, for the defensive fixture, protecting that location. We do already have this garrison down here. I could put a corps over here instead, but Tours seems more important because this is what blocks this area off. If he lands down here, then Tours can still respond that way, and Tours' unit can be replaced. So I might leave that garrison here for the time being and maybe even upgrade it. But my idea is if I operate these 2 corps over by Tours and Nantes, then it would be more defended. The Atlantic Wall is already defended. We have Artie, we have paratroopers on each of these towns. Kane's not really protected directly, but if he's gonna do normal D-Day, he's gonna need a lot of preparation over here, which is going to take a very long time. This over here indicates potentially a Western invasion. He might just be going straight for that. I mean, it is pretty suspicious, right? He could just be fooling me with a bunch of not thought through actions. That wouldn't be the first time this has happened. But we do inevitably need to move units over there. And another thing that's suspicious, again, is he stopped funding the USSR with the UK's money. In the winter, it gets reduced, but it doesn't get set to 0. So he should still be able to send MPPs there, just at a reduced rate, if I remember correctly. We're going to need a defense here eventually, no matter what. Those corps would be pretty good for it. It would take units off the front, which isn't necessarily the greatest, but March, April, theoretically next turn the winter might be gone, and I could go on full offensive. And you know, a lot of my bombers and such are pretty much getting ready, set, you know, they're basically good to go. I'm not even sure how we should set this up with all these HQs everywhere. I don't want to move some things. We certainly can. Although supply over here would get kind of weird. But it's doable. Something down by Bryansk temporarily could be interesting. Maybe not perfect, but interesting. And basically by opening these 2 things up, we have an army to make sure this is protected. This is the main thing that would be opened, is this right here, potentially inviting him across the river to go on his offensive, even if the snow isn't present on his turn. It would potentially trick him into advancing and hopefully make him feel good about it. Maybe he thinks that I'm on the retreat. I don't know. And then he'd attack, trying to break through right here and push against what appears to be a fleeing enemy, right? And he's taken bait like this way more than I expected him to before, multiple times. And so if he takes this bait, his counteroffensive, which is really just a complete failure, would be open to constant aerial bombardment and a renewed offensive from the south with these new reinforcements arriving, this tank, for example. You know, the moment my turn to attack comes around, he's not going to be well off. This guy's morale is very low. And meanwhile, I'd be shifting my other forces in that direction. Maybe it would cause him to shift more forces here to try to break through, which would allow me to kind of push harder and take Moscow, forming more of a line of a front. I don't know, it's an idea, and it's one I think I'm going to do. He might just sit still and not pay attention to this at all. Either way, these are just 2 corps, and we haven't lost a single unit, a single land unit. We've lost a sub, but we haven't lost a single land unit, whereas he's lost a ton. Everything he has here and down here is probably his whole army, you know? He probably has almost everything on the front at this point. And he's failing on the offensive, and he's not at our technological level. So I think I'm willing to do that, yeah. Let's go ahead and operate the 30th Corps here, because they're not going to get there any other way, and send this one to Nantes. They'll get a chance to reinforce later while they're over there. And then probably over to Tours, yeah. Because if he landed here, this would still be kind of a weak spot, I guess. I feel like eventually what I could do, and hell, I might be able to do this right now, but I don't know if this is actually wise to do right now, is take something like one of these cores. Well, clearly not immediately because he's attacking there. Replace it with a garrison because these are on partisan locations. And then send that core over towards Bordeaux. And then we'd have a core. Only Caen would really be weakly defended, sort of. I mean, we have some anti-air pressed up against the coast, for fuck's sake. That's not exactly strong, but it's better than nothing. He has other opportunities to land, but we're going to slowly be trickling cores backwards for defense. Which, you know, it's not like we have a lot of units over here to begin with, but so long as we're being efficient. For now, we'll operate the 5th Corps westwards, and we'll put it over on Tours. We do have Rommel's whole force up here, so it's not something I need to worry about, I think. Yugoslavia is handling Italy. Bulgaria is defending Albania, and all these other guys have garrisons. He can't go for this due to the deal, Greece, until the next year. He didn't really accomplish anything over here at all, huh? This doesn't even make MPPs. Attacking that was just lost MPPs for him and did not affect me at all. Well, that's always beneficial, I suppose. Got the 1 fighter over here. 1, 2, 3 fighters on this side. Definitely want to get shuffling some things over because we're not doing a northward push towards Leningrad again. It's my second time deciding to not do that. We got further than I expected, and I'm fine enough with holding this. The Finns are holding off his units over here. He's sending a lot of his units to the grinder anyway, so my goal is not to force a sudden surrender, but to face him where he's strongest and then whittle away at him. But not during the winter. Our morale is still trying to recover as well. So, von Manstein, that's the one we'd be moving, huh? Gotta find somewhere else for these fighters. Somewhere on a town would really be the ideal thing, but I don't think that's in the cards. Honestly, do we even need this many fighters over here? We have a lot of fighters now that we've kind of combined fronts. You got the Luftwaffe, 4 fighters here. You got the 3rd here. Lurkers, Africa fighters. We have like 4 fighters here when we don't need 4 fighters. He doesn't even have any air power to threaten us. So sending this over westwards could be useful. And it could be additionally useful because once Sevastopol's done, I think I'll move the medium bombers into France to serve as a defensive fixture, number 1, but also to harass anything over here. We're not quite ready for that yet, however. I will go ahead with some elite reinforcements here to try to make the incoming Sevastopol a little bit easier. It's not happening just yet, but I think it would be a pretty good idea to operate, because flying would take fucking forever, operate, say, the Luftwaffe 3rd fighters over into France. Then it could kind of like team up with the anti-air that's present there. Although, how would I cover everything? France is too big for 1 fighter to cover everything unless you put it in Caen, and that's kind of a risky place to put a fighter unit. But 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It would cover everything except down to Bordeaux, which is fine for now. Honestly, I'd probably prefer to have it in Tours. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's good enough, right? That's the current range of it. Although, I just moved another unit there, so it can't really move there right now and then stay there and operate out of there, but then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It would actually cover this side. That's maybe something we can set up, but not right now. We'd need to move this. We'd need to move it somewhere else where it could serve as a defensive fixture. Somewhere that could also stop them from advancing. For now, I suppose, we'll simply take it and we'll operate it over to Caen. It'll just sit in Caen for now, because we don't need this much air, and having additional air and units is kind of a drain on our HQ resources anyway. So let's move the lowland lurker here aside to Orel to allow von Manstein to come down the center here by Bryansk. We're going to move von Rundstedt down to Smolensk because we don't really need HQ support over here. I'll keep... God, wait, how much stuff do I have here? Holy crap. I'll move this fighter up to Vitebsk. That should do for right now. Everything's still covered. Moving up some bombers may be ideal. We only have 26 MPPs remaining to work with. That's not enough to give elite reinforcements to anything over here or anything. And we have 5 tactical bombers over here. 2 of them, well, 4 of them will be ready next turn because we have another tactical bomber down here. Otherwise, we would have more. But we don't because it's going to assist at Sevastopol. This one isn't really going to do any bombing either because we got to get at those ground attack weapons. But the rest of these can, should, and will. I'm going to move one right down here. Seems like a decent enough spot for one. It's defensive and it can partake in a lot of stuff. It's right next to a fighter as well. And I could have another one over there as well. I'm not quite sure how supply is going to spread in that region, but it seems like it's going to be good enough up to here. Don't want to go too deep on that end when I'm inviting him down the middle, though. There's some versatility to be had over here. If I could reach that far, which, well, I could get this far. So we're going to have to take that. Africa Tactical Bomber will head right down there. And then we'll just need some bombers right in the dead center. And what's that going to look like here? Probably reinforcing from this side. It's far enough from all of his units, he wouldn't be able to see anything anyway. So we'll come over here like this, and then these should be fine. Apparently this doesn't count as a town to operate out of, which is frustrating. But what I'll do is I'll swap the Romanian fighter up. That seems like a decent enough idea, I suppose. Because it's going to be hard to fix this with Kherson. So if I do this, he'll pump out supply, he will bounce it, and then we'll have better supply down here. It's good enough for now. The fighter doesn't need to be on a town because it'll be taken care of by the Romanian HQ. These Germans just need special town treatment for right now. Once they bomb enough, then at least one of them would be able to leave. Maybe both medium bombers by that point. I don't know. Once they bomb enough, one of them should be able to leave. For now, these HQs will do their job, boosting off of towns. Don't put them on mines. The more you know. 26 MPPs is not a lot more to work with. We definitely had more attention, mostly strategizing here, than we usually do. We can go ahead and move Suomussalmi up to right about here. No mobility needed if he's just going to be chilling out here. We have a defensive fixture here. He's moved new units up to Joensuu. They must have already been in the region. He has a pretty strong base here of units. If he wanted to push into Finland, you know, he could certainly try. But he'd be better off taking that down here and trying to break through these injured lines, which I may have to retreat from eventually because I'm focused over here. I don't know how to explain it, but it really does feel like I'm outnumbered still. I've only moved like 2 units away, but it does feel like I'm outnumbered. The Soviets have so many units. I feel like I play the Soviets and then I don't feel like I have a lot of units. But maybe he's putting extra effort into purchasing units. He did say something about MPPs saving his life a while ago. Let's move the 5th Army up here. We're not going to do any silly blitz attacks right now. Not with this. Not like this. El Alamein. I'm still not very sure how I want to handle this. I want to get an HQ into El Alamein. That would be just the best. This army, however, needs to move and upgrade. We do have an upgraded core here that can make it right here. So I'll send this core forward just to secure the position. All right? We're going to move this HQ forward. Garibaldi, swap him like so that we can get away with upgrading the 1st Army. And shifting forward is going to be a pain in the ass without mobility. But this should allow for the Syracuse Corps to move up like this. Ah, geez, man. Force marching, the Amito Corps can get almost up to Tripoli. I'm going to wait till it's actually there to move this garrison right here. Benghazi, I might move over to Tobruk. This garrison is not as important being here, but it does need to be somewhere. We're basically going to have Corps here, garrison there is what we're going to do. But we do need to move some other things first, and we are still kind of stuffed when it comes to the amount of corps that we have on the front. I don't want to move any more back right now because I don't think I need it. And if I do need it, I can get them over, theoretically, in time. Well, at least to Benghazi. Tripoli's pretty far. Hopefully one upgraded Italian corps would be enough. That's if he goes for an invasion. This would be very concerning. Right here would give me more time, but he might go for here as well. He'll have the ability to dictate the terms of a front soon. So we have to keep that in mind, but we're not going very far if we just move up to right here. This HQ is going to move up as far as he can get. Grazani here. Supply is not the greatest because El Alamein supply is not the greatest. So morale is going to be a little bit not the greatest. As a result of all this, we're kind of just getting the front where we need it to be. But if this started projecting supply, we wouldn't need the messy HQ back here by Siwa Oasis. It would be pretty much irrelevant. Pretty much irrelevant because all the supply would bounce through here. And that's going to take 3 more turns. I wonder if I could get better morale by moving this guy up. I feel like that's not the case. Supply is not going to be getting any better here anytime soon due to this movement that I'm doing. We could reinforce these tanks up to max, but then that's going to be all that we can really do this turn. No more upgrades, no nothing. We're just kind of chilling, digging in, staring up at him. We got our armies. Well, one of them is closer to the front. I guess I can, you know, just swap these. I shouldn't have moved a corps for it. I should have moved an army. And hell, I could swap again. It would lower morale and stuff. But it's going to get the army closer to the front, and the army is what needs to be there, not the corps. So call that me fixing my mistake. His readiness morale didn't really budge very much, honestly. So we have a second army very close to the front that's upgraded. Another one just right back here. An HQ right there. And I think this arty can safely defend literally everything over here. Over here is the most interesting thing because this tank is just... I mean, look at it. It's injured. It's kind of by itself. I don't want to waste units pushing an offensive right now, though. We have some preparation work we could do to get better over there. So I'm going to leave that alone. And with that, Italy's basically done. No money to do anything else right now. Same thing with the Germans. Best I can really think to do is try to bomb one of these locations and see if I find anything. Alright, well, there's nothing right there. If he had any more sub-traps over here, he's given up on them. Japan has a more interesting way of things right now. Like I mentioned, we do want to go ahead and move some stuff. So let's go ahead and attack with this army, dealing the 4 damage. Well, we were supposed to deal 5. Let's attack with this corps as well. And just like that, Wu Gorge is mine. Though, I don't know. The garrison that I want to move in is still limited. It's still fucking limited due to the snow. The corps can at least stay there for right now, so that's fine. And it should allow us to start moving some things forward. The medium bomber is just like completely out of range of fucking everything. Tactical bombers, I guess we should move them as far as we can get them. Ideally. Let's say to Suchao and Yichang. So 1 TAC fighter there, 1 TAC fighter there. Then we could put the medium bomber over in Wuhan. Not giving up on any sorts of partisan positions that we need to worry about. We're going to take Kimura, and we're going to move him down over to Kunming. It's as far as he can really get right now. He doesn't have mobility. Force march the 11th Regional Army to the south. We're going to step on Lashio with our North Chinese Front Army. He's way far away from the North Chinese front, but we have secured Lashio, which is good. We got some more units moving up. I think Burma is what matters more over here, but this is going to wait. That requires potentially some MPP investments. We have a really good chance of just wiping out the Chen HQ in 1 more attack. So yeah, I'm going to take it, and the Chen HQ's gone. He just basically gave that up to me, which is amazing. I'm going to move forward and secure Xi'an. Wow, taking Xi'an was really easy because he just left an HQ on it. That's all he left there. This poor guy can't move up any further from where he is, which is unfortunate, which I think is due to the entrenchment of this guy. We have 1 shell we could shoot in that direction, and then we have pretty good odds. I will attack across the river with my stronger unit here. Dealing 2 damage and taking none is something, but it's still not enough. Still, with so much zone of control, I don't think he can really get in, just as I can't really move in either. Either way, this arty is not going to be the most important thing in a moment, because all the air is arriving, and this should really help flush him out. So I'm just going to move the first heavy arty. This has mobility. Just out of the way. Move this army up to get it into a better position to try to cross over with everything else here. With the assistance of air, this should be pretty simple. We can potentially wipe this guy out in one attack. 5 damage. Let's try and take it. And there you go. Another Chinese army dead. National morale bonus up. We could potentially use this core to wipe out the Peng HQ, Communist China. Oh, well, no. He had 9. I thought he had 5. Well, still, we dealt some pretty good damage. This arty could take 3 pot shots over here. This artillery at his Communist Chinese army. We completely broke his entrenchment. His readiness and morale is kind of shot. He took some elite reinforcement damage, which makes it way easier to deal damage to him. I think this core has mostly done its job. I'm gonna just move it all the way back here right now. Pao Tao, we're gonna move up from, and we're gonna wipe out the Communist Chinese HQ here, which is gonna be a real pain in the ass for his units. We're gonna move the 2nd Kwantung Army over here to put some zone of control so he can't move across the river, so that, well, I don't know if I should do this yet. I was going to move the HQ forward, but I think it's fine where it is. We'll just move the arty up is what we'll do, let's say, for right now. Yeah, that should be fine. And then we could go ahead and attack the 37th Army. I'll take this risk. I mean, it's an elite reinforced army. Oh, I didn't even take any damage. I was going to say, even if I do take damage, it is going to be worth it. His zone of control is not so imposing over here anymore. We're starting to see some really, really good progress on what used to be a really stagnant area. With the air moving up as well, that's definitely going to be in our benefit. All right, so I moved the South Sea Special Forces over here from Truk, and we're going to land and take Guam. He appears to have moved any relevant units out of this theater. I also moved over to Nauru, and we're going to land and take this town, and we're going to take the mine as well. So that mine in that town will now be production for us, which is good. Mines are always good. Guam is always good. We've landed, we've taken it. In terms of MPPs and, well, morale, they're honestly not the most worthwhile, but we're back up to 98% morale right now with Japan. We've made a huge recovery. We haven't seen morale like this since, shit, I don't know, like the start of the game? I think it even started lower than this, I suppose. This is the highest our morale's ever been. America's morale has dipped down to 93%, understandably. And that is really all we can navally invade with. He got the Far East air fighters trapped. I think they started to vow. He moved them because I was slow on invading the Philippines. But that means I get to kill all the American air forces that were ever here, which is fucking hysterical. We can then move, we know there's a unit here, so we gotta be careful. We can move forward towards Corregidor, and he's entrenching. He's pretty weak. He's not very well off. I'm not gonna do the blitz attack, that's not worth it. I'm going to, well, I guess I could move over to Legach, whatever. The supply in the region is better. Supply on these guys is just amazing looking for some reason. Oh, maybe because of this. Oh, that's the naval stuff. I see. That's for ships. I'm going to move this special forces over this way to claim the rest of that. And there you go. This can be reinforced and then transported out at some point. We do know he was raiding us. He's doing surface raiding. Okay, that's not really that bad. I mean, it still did some damage, but it's not really that bad. But that is what he's doing. We don't have anything set up to deal with that. I don't want to let our technology get any further behind with Japan, and we have been falling behind a little bit because I've been busy with other things. I'm going to put some points into production technology because we're going to need that constantly, forever and always. 227 MPPs remaining. We at least got some research going. I'm going to take this 15th garrison. I'm going to put this on a transport. I'm going to pay for that. And we got to get it sent over somewhere. I'm not entirely sure where I want it right now, but there's a lot of places coming up soon that are going to need garrisons very, very much, including pretty far west around Chengdu. Oh yeah, we're going to need a garrison over there. Well, shit. I guess what I can do for now is just go land over by Shanghai. Drop them off there. Anything else we'll have to follow later. For now, we'll just move that over there. We do need more garrisons. We're going to need to pay for more. I know this is going to be a little bit of a long episode. I want to do this whole turn right now, because I've been doing some short turns. We've moved a lot of the carriers back to Japan so far. I've moved all the naval units either to Japan for upgrades, repairs. If they just need upgrades, I've moved them out to just random naval bases, most of which have enough supply to deal with what I'm asking. This guy won't be able to pop out in this port, though, I just realized, due to my decisions, which is unfortunate. We should reinforce this special forces while he has the ability to reinforce up to 10. You don't get that opportunity all the time. The Yamato here can certainly upgrade in this port if I so chose. Yeah, I guess that could work. We do want to get more special forces out to sea. I'm going to put this one out to sea. Wow, that one an interesting location. And this one, so that's the roughly 140 MPP spent on getting 2 special forces out to sea. They'll be okay where they are. They're pretty far away from anything of value, but I can get them moving in the right direction while the others are in weird situations. This battleship actually cannot be upgraded because Wake Island doesn't even have what it needs in terms of supply to upgrade. Well, shit. There you have it. That's fine, because we don't have a lot of MPPs, but we have a lot of upgrades to do, and there's other things maybe of bigger importance demanding our attention in the short term, such as reinforcing these units. But this is also going to be a pain in the ass, because I only have 56 MPPs, and I have a bunch of needs. I need some more garrisons for the Chinese front. I'm trickling units away from it for other fronts. I need to start moving some corps out to sea, though I guess they have to wait until some availabilities show up, and I need to, reinforce certain units. I have a lot of needs and not a lot of capabilities. Now, up here, we do have some garrisons that are questionable on if we actually need them still, such as Manchuli, this garrison up at Manchuli. And Yankee is more strategically located, but it's not needed for a garrison. I don't think he's going to invade Japan from there. I'd be impressed if he decided to do that. But I don't think that he's going to do that. I think he wants all of his units on a different front. And I don't even know if he could see this unit to begin with. He would have already attacked. So what's probably going to happen is if I want to make all these things work, then we're probably just going to forget about maintaining perfect border protection over here and send that stuff somewhere that it could be more useful. This one just basically has to be operated somewhere. And let's see, I landed one by Shanghai. I do want to protect Hong Kong with a garrison, but it's not absolutely vital. Are there any locations where getting a garrison might be even more vital? Not necessarily. Not necessarily. So that might just become the Hong Kong defense protection, but this has to move first. So tell you what, we'll take this one, we'll operate it, and we'll send it into this region because this roughly is where it's going to be needed. So we'll go dump that garrison right there for right now. 51 MPPs remaining. We will avoid building any more, I think. And we're gonna look at reinforcing something, or maybe 2 things. Well, 2 things, maybe not. 2 things, maybe not. We're gonna reinforce the Indochina Expedition Army. And then we're gonna reinforce the Thai Expedition Army. We'll move the 1st Kwantung Army over to Moulmein to secure that for us and get a position there. I'm going to move the paratroopers. I want to force march them, but I don't want to force march them. Just right down here for now. I want to get them placed in the jungle where they can serve a more defensive fixture. That's kind of the goal as I focus the armies on Rangoon and taking this region. We'll move the 21st Army up 1 to start moving in that direction. It's really hard to move in this direction without mobility. We don't have the money to invest in mobility right now. Suzuki will just move up a touch as well to help supply in this region. Hopefully we can start training ourselves down this road to present another front to him. Right now it's very slow, and again, there's not a lot I can do about it. This corps will just stay right here as a defensive fixture until we could somehow get this fucking guy to where I need him. And he could be placed over here, and that would work just as well. But moving him down there would maybe not be so seamless. Because I don't know when I'm going to be able to move directly in there, and I'm going to need supply for that extra action point. So in 4, we may not get it. I'll move down 1, We're still covering that garrison point, which is fine. And we're going to try to have to work our way around over there. The research has slowed us down a little bit on all fronts pretty much. But yeah, and look, we still haven't done anything here. Let's put that one more reinforcement point I could put into the Batavia Corps while I can, right? It's slowing us down getting back into research, but it's fine. It's all right. I guess we are making some progress. That's good, I suppose. We've done everything we can for this turn, so let's go ahead and pass it back to him and see what happens. Chinese morale suffers the loss of Xi'an. Yeah, that's pretty good. U.S. morale suffers the loss of Guam. We celebrate the capture of Guam. Dominican Republic joins the Allies. Survivors from Xi'an reform the units in Urumqi. Oh, I think that's the most correct I've ever said that. Communist partisan activity in Johor doesn't really affect us. Catfish hit by rough seas. Didn't affect us really. Japan develops long-range aircraft level 3. Nice, even more research. And command and control level 2. Well, that doesn't need to be continued. And that seems to be everything. All right, great. Well, hope you guys have enjoyed this slightly long episode. We'll have to pick this up on the next episode once he gets his turn back to us. This year is shaping up to be exciting. His strength has increased dramatically, and I'm starting to become ever more stretched thin in every direction. Let me know what you guys think about the progress of this war, because I think it's getting really interesting. For now, though, thank you guys very much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.